does it piss you off a little bit to think that maybe there's all sorts of programs that the government came up with to give money to you and your business, but yeah, you know nothing about them, you have no idea how to get that money, but you know darn well that they're giving it to somebody? What's going on, everybody? I'm Chris Naugle, and welcome to the Money School Podcast. Today, I've got an extra special guest. My friend Josh is on. But here's the thing. Before we get into Josh, I want to talk a little bit about the government. You all know the government. You either like or don't like or kind of fall in the middle, but it doesn't matter. The government sure does spend a lot of money, don't they? They give a lot of money, and I can't help but to think about that $5.2 trillion that they printed during the pandemic. And I think about that, and do you know how much money that is, folks? You know how much money $5.2 trillion is? Because I don't. It's like more than I can comprehend. But they are still giving that money away. And does it piss you off a little bit to think that maybe there's all sorts of programs that the government came up with to give money to you and your business, but yeah, you know nothing about them. You have no idea how to get that money, but you know darn well that they're giving it to somebody. Who's getting it? Is it their buddies that own businesses? Is it the big, blue chips? Is it all the companies in the S&P 500? And then you're just being left out. Why? You know what? The fault normally goes on you. The problem isn't so much that the money isn't being given away. The problem is you just don't have the proper channels to get that money. And that's all going to change today. You already know that the government did PPP loans. You know they did EIDL loans. Maybe you've heard about ERC. Maybe you haven't. We're going to hit that today. But there's a lot of money being given to business owners, self-employed entrepreneurs, still to today, if you know how to tap into them. Well, my friend Josh Zieglowsky knows how to do this. This is what he's done and what he's done really successful. Let me just tout him just a little bit because I think this will be really interesting. So I remember talking to Josh before the pandemic. He was all about the infinite banking concept. He was doing some real estate and just a steward of the good old-fashioned R. Nelson Nash infinite banking concept. So that's how we kind of hit it off. He was working with us with the money multiplier, but he ended up finding this little niche of bringing some of that government money to you, the business owner, and he did it the right way. And let me just tell you how right. First off, he's purchased over $200 million in commercial real estate in the last 5 years. So that just tells you he's done something right. But what he did is he built the largest ERC company in the country, and he helped. How many companies do you think he helped? You want to guess? 70,000 companies. Just do the math. 70,000 companies. He helped them all get money that helped their business expand, helped their business get more employees, helped the economy grow. 70,000 businesses getting extra money certainly moves the needle for the economy. But that's just a little bit about Josh. Let's dive in. Josh, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Chris. Appreciate you inviting me on.
Absolutely. So I think the most important thing I want to know, and I'm sure some of my listeners want to know, is how did you stumble into this? I mean, we were talking, it feels like it was yesterday, but it was almost a decade ago, but we were talking IBC and banking and, that's what you're doing back then. But where did the transition go from what you were doing at that point into where you're at now, building this massive company and now doing another company that helps businesses in a way that I've never even heard of before?
It kind of reminds me of my very first mentor in real estate 20 years ago. Someone asked in this mentorship class, what's the secret to real estate? And I was 23 years old. I was writing down every single note. I even wrote down when someone was talking about a FISBO, I wrote down FISBO. I was so new at this. So I was taking all the notes I could. And someone said, what's the secret to real estate? And he said, it's 2 words, problem solving. And he goes, if you become a good problem solver, you become very successful, not just in real estate, but in entrepreneurship. And so with that, I then got into real estate, then I got into commercial real estate, spent 7 years. I'm in commercial real esite now. But I was always a serial entrepreneur. I was a minority owner of an oil business out of Wyoming. I'm in Utah. And just through the pandemic, we were shut down. And in 83 years, it's never happened where every single well in the whole state of Wyoming was plugged. And it wasn't able to operate. And so with that, we applied for everything stimulus-wise that we could. PPP, state of Wyoming gave us a grant. All this other like small little grants from cities and counties. And so I was always searching for extra stimulus and then come upon the ERC program. That was in March of 21. And I reached out to my CPA, which is the same group that Robert Kiyosaki uses, Tom Wheelwright. I was talking to one of the partners there. And I said, can you help me with this? And he says, you know what, we don't do payroll. We just do your 1040s, your 1120s. You need to talk to your payroll company. So I reached out to my payroll company, Reps, which is ADP and Gusto. And I said, can you help me with this? And they said, sorry, we don't amend returns. We just do active returns. So you're going to have to talk to a third-party service. And so I talked to a couple of third-party services. And being that I went through the mortgage meltdown like a lot of people in different aspects, when I was trying to problem solve my income back then, I got into loan modifications, if you remember that. And so I then partnered with an attorney, and I looked at ERCs like, hey, we could certainly sort of open businesses with this on maybe on a scale type of piece. But I looked at like loan modifications. This is going to be a 1 or 2 year run, and hopefully we do well, help a lot of businesses along the way. And then as we kind of got more and more into it, I saw the reaction from business owners. Like, you were literally like helping them out because they were using their savings to pay payroll in 2020, 2021, because they felt so bad about what was going on, and they didn't have enough money, even getting PPP money. And so with that, we, like you said, we end up helping 70,000 businesses and help people that from $5,000 for their business up to millions of dollars. And like you were saying, $1 trillion is such a weird number. It's such a large number to a lot of us. And it always reminds me of when I used to do real estate, a friend of mine said, hey, to understand what a billion is, if you count it from 1 to a million, how long do you think that would take you? And I guessed it was 13 days. And he goes, well, if you count it to a billion, how long do you think that would take you? And I guess a year or two, ended up being 33 years. And that's just a million to a billion. And a trillion is 1,000 times more than that. And this is what we're talking about, $5 or $6 trillion of money out there from the government. And I think a lot of us know that there's always grants and credits out there, but we're just unfamiliar. And we always hear there's a lot of red tape. So we're there as far as a company to help with that red tape.
So there's a couple things I want to unpack there. Oh, and folks, if you haven't already met, this is Lazy Cash. So he is the star of the show, but he is always late. So I got to get the show started until the star shows up. So there he is. Say hi, Cash. There you go, folks. Last day in this office because we are officially moving into our new building, but useless information. So let me unpack a couple of those things. You had mentioned the loan modification period of time. Now, some of the audience might actually, if you believe it or not, might be too young to remember that. That was during 2009, right after the Great Recession hit, and everybody was losing their houses. Banks quickly set up these separate agencies. They were really third-party companies, and all these companies did is modified existing loans. It was a whole racket of a business. My wife worked in that business. Her father worked in that business. I knew tons of people that were in that loan modification business. It was nuts. But I love that you kind of parlayed that, because loan modifications back then were brand new. They'd never really been done, and nobody wanted to do them because it was just extra work that really they didn't know how to get paid on. But the government came in and supported that and basically subsidized that and allowed these companies to exist. And then this loan modification business came about. And when you started your business doing ERC, it was a similar way. You're going around, hey, can you help me? Hey, can you help me? Hey, can you help me? And everybody's like, no, we don't do that. No, we don't really do that. No, we don't do that. And you're like, holy crap, there's an opportunity here. Ding, ding, ding. The worthy idea was planted, and you went for it. And you went for it to the tune of helping 70,000 businesses. Now, folks, how long it would take to count to a million and how long it would take to a billion and a trillion. Well, you'd be dead in a trillion. But anyway, think of 70,000 businesses and just take an average. I don't know, $50,000. Like, how much money did he help businesses get, and how much did he impact the economies in each one of those cities, states, and regions that he was able to help those businesses, that's a huge accomplishment. But the unique part about that I want all of you to hone in on is all he did is he found a little problem that he could solve, and that problem solved a really big problem for millions of people, really, if you think about it. And you've now uncovered a second option for people to get money, but not people, business owners, not big business. Because I know when I say business, you're thinking, oh, it's a big business. PPP, I had to have employees. There was all these like little caveats of things you needed to have to qualify for all these different loans and these grants and these different programs the government did out of the $5.2 trillion. And now this program actually helps I'm going to call him the entrepreneur, because really just the small entrepreneur up to the big entrepreneur. Josh, can you talk a little bit about the new problem that you found and the solution to how you can help businesses?
Yeah. I mean, when we started ERC was W-2 employee related. And then the business owner that had maybe 20 employees, W-2 employees, was the one who was able to take advantage of this, of the ERC program. And then a few months ago,
ERC is done now, right? ERC is done. Yeah, it's done. So folks, like if you got in on ERC, great. If you didn't, well, too bad.
Yep. Yeah. So that opportunity is for W-2 employees, but it was for the business owners of the W-2 employees. And I was a sole proprietor, 1099, self-employed person until I had employees, about 4 years ago when we started the wheel business, so I know exactly how a lot of the, self-employed people think. And I had a lot of friends that would reach out to me like, hey, can I take advantage of this ERC program? Sorry, man. It's only for people that have W-2 employees. And they're like, man, they should come out with a program like that. Guess what? They did. And it's not a long runway. ERC was a lot longer runway. And so basically, people could get up to $32,200 per individual. So if there's a husband and wife, and depending on how they do their taxes, they can get up to $64,400, and because at first I was like, wait, I got 10 LLCs, or more. I'm going to take advantage of all this. No, it comes down back to the individual of all the different LLCs that person has. And so that's the way they've set it up. And so we want to make it automated because we saw people doing this as far as competitors 3 or 4 or 5 months ago. But we want it more automated because we knew we were going to help a lot of businesses instead of hundreds. We're going to help thousands, if not hundreds of thousands. And so we wanted to build it to make it so it's very seamless, very a good experience for that business owner of going through that process. And so we launched it. It's been about 2 months now, and we're obviously getting great reviews. But we got another about 18 months left on this runway.
Well, this podcast will certainly launch in time. Your real estate business lives and dies by the network and the connections that you make. I mean, after all, your network, well, it's your net worth. That's what you always heard, right? If that's an area where you desire improvement, well, Private Money Club, it's for you. PMC saves you precious time and money by bringing the real estate world, well, right to you, right in the palm of your hand. So get in on the action like so many others have by going to privatemoneyclub.com and sign up. So all of you listeners, how many of you own businesses and you have no employees, but you were affected during the pandemic and you couldn't really take advantage of almost all of the different programs, but you're thinking, man, I really got the short end of that stick, huh? Yeah, a lot of you, right? But now you get this one. You can get up to 30. What did you say? 32,000?
$32,200, and that's only for the next couple of weeks, actually. And then it's going to go down every quarter thereafter. So there's definitely taking action, and getting this done as soon as possible because it's going to continue to go down to about $8,000 every quarter till it's out.
Wow. So it's a declining scale, folks. The government doesn't want to give too much more away, so it's going to start at 32,200, but decline as it goes. So you got to get on this, folks. If you've got a business, you were affected during. Well, actually, let's define affected because that's kind of a loose word. So, Josh, what would it take to qualify for this program?
Yeah, so there's a couple things. Number one, I always tell people, do not pre-qualify yourself. Make sure you go on there. Because sometimes I get a lot of questions. I'm like, hey, just go on there because you don't want to pre-qualify yourself, but you'll find out that maybe you didn't qualify for 1 year, but you qualified for another year.
Yeah, and Josh, let me pause you real quick, folks. go on there. You're probably thinking, go on where? Go on where? I'm going to put the link in the description. So we'll have a link in there. You can click it. Like you said, he automated it. You just click the link and you walk through and it will tell you whether you're eligible or not. But sorry, I didn't mean to steal your thunder there.
No, I'm glad you said that. But yeah, so when someone goes on, they're going to come up with the questionnaire. The questionnaire only takes 15 to 30 minutes. And there's basically three main questions, and they're four. Does it this or this or this? So the first one is did you have COVID, and what quarters did you have COVID that affected you in business? So you can't work for 2 days, 3 days, 2 weeks, whatever it is. But then there will be a calendar. So technically you have to attest, because depending on, I'm sure 50-50 on the listener side. Some people, went to the doctor, it took the COVID test and was official that they went in there and got that. Some others, like myself, I didn't go to the doctor, but I knew I pretty much had COVID. I think I had a self-done test. So I had the test. Like I got it in December 21. I got it early in 21, then January 21. So I had to attest to that on which days that basically I remember kind of having it. And then, or let's say you didn't have COVID, but maybe someone you conducted business with had COVID. And so you have to kind of put when those dates were, or if you had a kid that stayed home and had remote learning, from home, like Zoom learning, like a lot of.
So every single parent is what you're saying. If you were a parent during the pandemic, your kids were home from school.
Yeah, I know you're from New York. I think Buffalo or something, but
yes.
New York, Hawaii, California, they were shut down even their schools even longer than like someone in Utah, right? So people in those states, they'll definitely be able to kind of attest to a lot longer than other people. So those are the main three things. But again, I would still go on there, make sure you answer some questions. Go through your personal situation, like pull up your taxes, look at let's say line 14, match it up here to matching up to the questionnaire. And then you wait to the very end and say, okay, based on what you put in there, you're approved for up to $28,000. Then it takes about 2-3 days. We then come back and say, actually, based on all the numbers that we have, you're officially approved for $25,412.13. Do you want us to file? At that time, you pay up front. You pay $2,000 fee. It's not a percentage of whatever you give. It's a fee, $2,000. And then it takes 6 to 18 weeks, sometimes 20 weeks to receive that money. And that's pretty much the logistics of it.
Wow. So that's pretty simple, folks. I mean, you'll know what you're going to get before you pay any fee. And that's the best part. You're not paying a fee in a hopes of getting money. You're paying a fee when you know what you're going to get. So you could just run the math and just say it makes sense. Because, if you're going to pay $2,000, but you're only eligible for $1,500, clearly, don't do it. It doesn't make mathematical sense. But the other thing, too, is when folks are hearing this, and anytime, I know most people are pretty leery of the government giving anything away for free because they're like, wait. There ain't nothing the government gives you for free that's actually free. So is there a repayment? Is this like the PPP loan or the EDIL loans that we got to pay that back over 30 years? What's the catch on this?
So I think to have everyone help them understand, there's basically three programs before this. There's probably multiple programs, but the main ones were PPP. That was a loan that was forgiven later, right? EIDL is a loan. That's a 30-year, when I didn't get one, but 30-year with a low interest for an amount of time. And then ERC was not a loan, and it was fully forgiven the day you receive it. This is that. So the day you receive it, fully forgiven, you can use it for whatever you want in your business.
So the government is not going to tell us what to use the money for. We never have to pay it back. So we literally could just get it in our company and just go buy a company vehicle, and it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Yeah, right. It's basically made for, helping you out in your business somehow. So,
wow. So, folks, look, if you're hearing the same thing I heard when he told me about this, it's kind of a no-brainer, right? If you're a self-employed individual and, you heard those knockouts or the things that qualify you, which is, I'm sorry, but pretty much all of you, either you had COVID, you knew somebody that you did business that had COVID, or one of your kids was home from school. But go to that link in the description and check it out. And just go through the process, 15 to 20 minutes to get up to $32,000. I'm sorry, that's pretty freaking good money per hour. I'm doing the math in my head, might be off a little. Maybe some of you are making more than that per hour. Good for you, but it's still worth your time. So this is pretty interesting. Now, let me go into another thing that I know to be true. ERC, when it came out, you helped 70,000 businesses. And I remember one way you did that, and you did this really effectively, is you went out to influencers. And I know a bunch of the podcasts you were on, and I know a bunch of those guys, and they got big audiences, and you basically created an affiliate link for them. So when you were on their podcast, the people clicked that affiliate link, and then they got a piece of the fee, right? They were sharing in the revenue that your company got. And I know some people made a lot of money. I mean, think of that, 70,000 businesses, folks. A lot of people made a lot of money, not just the businesses receiving the checks, but also the influencers and then Josh's company. So this one's no different, folks. So there's an affiliate program. Obviously, I'm doing it in full transparency. So if you click that link in the description, you end up doing this and pay the $2,000, I get paid. And I'll send you a thank you letter if I know who you are. Otherwise, I'm just going to say thank you now. But you could do the same thing. Let's say some of you know of businesses or business owners or self-employed folks during the pandemic that had one of those situations. You should go through it first yourself so you understand it. And you'll have to be an affiliate, you'll have to go through a bunch of training so you understand the rules. But once you get that, you pass that test, you now are an affiliate, and now you can go out and you can do this. And you can get paid for helping people get up to $32,000. There's nothing better than that. Like, you help somebody get a check for a program they would have never heard about, and then you get a check? Come on, that's a win-win. Josh, am I explaining that right?
You're 100%. I mean, to kind of give people the premise on where it started is when we started this program, the ERC program, is we started doing our own marketing. And then I kind of noticed the ones that were doing this were the ones I could personally talk to, because it was hard. It was so, I used to start the presentation and I would say, this is too good to be true, but let me show you why it isn't. But I wanted to kind of already put it out there because I know they're going to think that because I thought it was too good to be true. Because I went to Robert Kiyosaki, I went to ADP. All these people are telling me, no, third party. I thought the ones I talked to, they sucked. So I'm starting by myself, and I kind of noticed, like, you know what? Let's not do marketing. Let's do it through a personal relationship. And so people will be, and at the time with ERC, we would tell people, we'll get paid when you get paid. We wait 6 months, 7 months to get paid. Where this is a totally different program, and so we do have to charge up front. But it's the same thing with the affiliate relationship. I mean, you guys that are listening here, guys and gals, you have people in your market that, I mean, if you're self-employed, you're around people that are self-employed. Let's just say that, you're networking with those types of people. So this is like easy that you can certainly talk to them and get a little bit of cheese from it.
I love it. I always like the win-win situation. I mean, many of my companies that I've got are win-win, and that's what makes them so successful is, it's not just about us winning. It's about really, we got to help somebody else win first, and then we win together. And that's exactly what this is. So folks, if you know people who own businesses, there's another link in there. So there's 2 links in the description. One, if you're the business owner trying to get some of that money for this program. Okay. Number 2, and it'll say right on it, affiliate link. Click the affiliate link, go through the trainings, and then become an affiliate, and then go out and start talking about this to people, helping people, because that's what you're doing. And I don't know if you all know the universal law, but the universal law says if you give, you get, and you understand that. What you're giving is the knowledge, the pathway, the ability for these businesses to tap into this. I will tell you right now, I don't know any businesses that know about this. Until Josh brought this to me, I wasn't in the know. I would have never been able to tap into this or even know anything about this if it wasn't brought to my attention, the same way we're bringing it to your attention. And we all can benefit from this. So it is truly a win-win. Solve a problem, and then your problem gets solved. That's that's the whole meaning of that universal law. So, Josh, what else can we tell them about this? Or is it really just, that's it, that's all?
That's it, man. I mean, I would say that the biggest piece, if we're to leave anything with everybody, leave something with everybody, is take an action. Because the longer you take on this, believe me, ERC was pretty much shut down, January 31st this year of 2024. I have received multiple texts, at least 2 dozen. Hey, can you make an exception? It's not me. I didn't shut it down. It was the government. And so I think if people are going to take longer, they're going to lose out. I mean, one of them, was my friend's daughter, who took over a year and a half after she talked to her to decide to do it. And it could have been close to $300,000 or $400,000 for a business, And so I would say you regret the things you don't do. You don't regret the things you try. And so I think, give it a shot. Spending 15, 30 minutes to go through a questionnaire is not going to be a waste of your time.
Wow, well said. So there you have it, folks. Take action. Go out there and solve people's problems. And that's the end of the story on this one. So Josh, thank you so much for coming on the podcast and bringing this to all of my audience. And hopefully my audience will then bring it to their audience, and their audience will bring it to their audience. And that's the power of podcasting and social media. So folks, that's what you need to tap into. Thanks, Josh.
Thank you, Chris.
All right, everybody. That's a wrap for this episode. We will see you next time. Go out there and help people grab some of this money. We'll see you next time.